I'm Krysta Heath, Miss Planet Australia 2018, and this is my interview with the Pageant project.
Hey everyone, it's Adrian from the Pageant project here with you, and I'm here with Miss Planet Australia 2018, Krysta Heath.
Hello.
I'm going to say welcome back to Krysta.
Thank you, thank you.
So Krysta, what has been happening since we last spoke? When was our last interview? About 6 days?
Yeah, it would have been in September-ish actually, around Miss Global Australia.
Oh, that's right.
And Miss Intercontinental. Yeah.
I was interviewing you for Miss Grand. Okay, so I'm getting lots and lots of systems confused.
Well, that's because we've done lots this year.
Yeah. So what's been happening since we last chatted?
Well, when we last chatted, I said that at the end of Miss Global Australia, I was doing the international competition for Star Central magazine, which was lots of fun. From then, lots has happened. I got picked up for quite a few fashion shows, which was really fun, including Rocky Gather Cole, which was a bit of a highlight of my year. And then straight after that, I got titled with Miss Planet Australia. Actually, maybe even just before that. Yeah, titled, like
Harry Potter.
I title you. Yeah, it was a monumental moment.
So back it up for a sec. So that fashion show, is that the one that I saw the photo on your Instagram where you're lying on the bar? No, that was the one before that. So after I did their search for the next international model, they had kind of like a get-together party after, but it ended up turning into this big fashion show at the Flamingo Lounge in Sydney. And then we got to wear two designers. It was Tommy, and then we got to also wear Lakshmi's design, and I was wearing hers. Well, I got to wear both actually, and they were amazing, which was a lot of fun. It was a kind of an impromptu one. And then you ended up on the bar because...
Well, there was okay. There's
got to be a story behind that.
Okay, so like in the back room, we're all getting ready, and they've got kind of the makeup over here, and they've got hairstylists over here, and the dresser over there, and then in the back room there's just this bar, and it was just playing, and all the photographers were kind of like trying to get all their cameras right and stuff like that, and lots of people busy, and a photographer walked up to me with a picture on his phone. He's like, "Oh, can you do this for me?" And I was like, "Yeah, why not?" I had time to kill. It was like 3 hours before it started, so...
That is so you.
Yeah, I know. But it made for some great photos. And then I ended up just sitting on the floor because they wanted that, and then soon after, like, so many people asked me, "Oh, can you do this one and this one?" And I was like, "Okay, no worries." And then someone suggested I get on the bar, and well, I've kind of always wanted to do just lying on the bar shoot, so that's how that one happened.
Okay, fair enough. And what was it, the one that you said was a highlight? Was it Rocky Bachelor?
No, Rocky Gather Cole. So he's a Hollywood designer. He designs for people like Nicki Minaj, Katy Perry, just really big names, Lady Gaga, like crazy names. And he was bringing his new line to Australia, and I got to be in the Sydney show, which was really cool.
So how did that happen? Because a lot of pageant girls also either want to get into modelling or model. So how did you, because you only started modelling last year, right?
No, beginning of this year in March.
Oh, I thought it's 2019 already.
No, we're not in the new year yet.
Okay, so you've begun this year?
Yeah, this year.
And you've already gotten into some really big shows. So how did you manage to do that?
I suppose just in the right places at the right time. I suppose it really is the people that you meet. Doing the international competition, the runway one, I got drafted from there. So they had representatives in the audience, and they picked the people that they liked, and then they came up to us after and said, "Oh, we want your information, and then we were just on the list, and then so that's how we got into that one, which was pretty cool. So I didn't have to audition. They did hold auditions, but I was sick in hospital, so I couldn't go to that one, and they were like, "Well, you're already in because we've kind of picked you from the show already." So
But how did you get, I don't think we discussed this last time, how did you actually get into modelling in the first place?
So when I did...
Because that happened before pageantry, right?
Yeah. So I got into Royal Modelling, which was the modelling agent, and I think I went to an event with them, and I met Star Central magazine, and I met Mike, who runs the whole thing, and he told me about the international pageant, that they were holding auditions for it, and so then I went and auditioned.
Right.
Yeah.
And it just went from there?
Yeah, it just kind of went really quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. But like I owe a lot to Miss Grand Australia because it was my first pageant, but they taught me everything I needed to know. And Danny, which was the director, she was really good because she also taught us how to do modelling as well. She taught us the difference between pageant and modelling in the shows and what to do on stage and what to do for high fashion. And like without her, I probably wouldn't have got half the jobs I did because that's where I learnt most of my stuff.
So, I mean, let's get on to pageantry. Yeah. So I guess first question is, how do you feel, because Miss Grand was about 6 months ago now, right? So how do you feel you've grown or progressed since then?
So much. I think I've learnt so much, like doing all the different pageants and the competitions and modelling, you know, we get coached a lot before we go up, so they've introduced us to all different people. I felt like where it was in Miss Grand, well, obviously just starting out, like, you know, I wasn't going to win because I knew nothing other than what she taught me, but by the end of it, like I felt like I knew so much, and then going on to the next ones and kind of just learning and continuing to practice, I felt like I've gone up heaps, but not just that, I think kind of me as a person, like my self-esteem wise and just confidence wise, I think that grew as well. And I think when people see that, then they want to, like, they'll be like, oh, she's really cool, she's really confident, like we want her. And I think it's all about just knowing yourself. Yeah.
And you said you were titled.
Yeah, titled.
So how did that happen? And then I guess tell us a bit about the sash and the system.
Right, so Miss Planet Australia is a brand new pageant, like it's only just started. This will be the first ever international pageant, and because it's all come together so quickly and the amazing director that they've got, he just knew so many people, and from there, I think it's the Cambodia government, they jumped on board and they're like, yeah, we want to do this, and then all the radio shows, so they're like, we want this international pageant happening quick. So they've gone and organised it, but obviously there's not a lot of time for individual pageants in national-wise to take place. Some places were able to pull it together, other places weren't. So the directors of each country was given the option that they could either run a pageant and select someone, or they could choose someone that they thought would represent Australia well. So, the director for Australia, she just kept looking around and she started asking people, and she started kind of following the pageant pages and, you know, who's making it in Australia. And she just got onto me, and she actually got on, like, finding all our interviews, and she watched them, and she just kind of learned about me, and she just thought that I'd be a good pick, which was really cool.
Did she say in particular why she picked you? I mean, obviously it's a great honour. Did she give you any insight as to why she picked you?
She just felt that like I was a bit of a real person, like not like saying that other people are, but she could see what I was doing, and when I talked to her on the phone, she felt like really confident that, like, you know, I knew about what I wanted to do, and that I was very passionate about something that was in relation to Miss Planet Australia. And, you know, when she'd asked me about like my history and about stuff that I did, I told her that I did things, but I wasn't big on like pushing them out to people, because I feel like it's something that everyone should just do. You know, it doesn't need to be publicised for an impact to be made. And, you know, we just got talking, and she just felt that, you know, listening to everything, that I'd be a good representative and that I would do Miss Planet justice. So I was like, cool, thank you.
So basically you're real.
Yeah. Like, I mean, everyone's going to be real in some aspect. Like, you know, everyone coming forward, I'm not saying that people aren't, but I suppose that I really try to keep to who I am as a person. And sometimes I find when people go into pageants, they change who they are to adjust to the pageant. Where I'm not like that. Like, what you see is what you get. Like, I'm weird, I'm quirky, I'm weird, and that shows in pageants. Like, sometimes I feel like, you know, I might not take myself seriously enough because I like to have a laugh, and sometimes I feel like other people take themselves way too seriously now, so I'm just going to, you know, have a joke to make, you know, ease the mood. I'm not sure I've
ever seen you take yourself seriously.
Oh, I do at times. Like,
I think you take what you do seriously. I'm not sure I've seen you ever take yourself seriously.
Yeah, I suppose that is a bit of a fine line between the two. I take what I do very seriously. Me as a person, I used to be really serious, like all the time.
Can't see that.
I know.
When was that?
Way back. There was a stage.
Really?
Well, it was really, so you really met me this year, and up to this year, like all I was career driven. Like all I wanted to was get where I wanted to go. I was studying. I didn't really have much of a social life. I was a bit of a loner. Like big loner, you know, and I used to sit there in my room like crying to mum. I'm like, I got no friends, like why is this? And, you know, she's like, because you push yourself too hard, like, you know. So this year I really made it my mission to push myself out of my comfort zone, and really I did most of this for the social side of things, to make friends. Like, you know, I'm a really bubbly person. It's such an amazing area to meet so many new different people, and that's what I've done. I've met so many people.
Tell us more about the system. So Miss Planet, internationally, what does it want to stand for?
Lovely question. I actually really love Miss Planet Australia's motto. So they're all about kind of harmony in Australia, in the world, sorry, not just Australia, but they're not just about sustainability. Like you think of Miss Planet and you kind of think of the earth and sustainability, but they're about anything that keeps the earth sustainable, like economical. So it could be health, medical, it could be sustainability, like planet-wise. It's really anything that benefits the planet. So, if you might see that health is lacking in your area, like if your passion is health, you could go straight for that. And, that's, making a better planet because it's making people feel better. It's putting people back into the workforce. It's making people like conscious of the world around them. Education as well, like early intervention. So it's a really good model because they have so many different categories which you can help in, and it's
So do you need to pick a particular category, or what are you going to be doing into the lead-up?
You need to pick something that you can talk about. Like, I think the fact that the people that didn't hold a national title, they want to see what you've done, not just here. I have to write a big essay about everything I've done in my life to get to this point, which I think is really important because some people can only start out this year and they might have only just started, and while that's okay, there might be other people that have been doing it for years and no one's even known. And I think it's really important to let those people shine. So I like that you get to write an essay and your passion. Obviously me, I've chosen children because that's my main passion, but this year I really kind of focused on how not just children but how children can help other people. And recently I just did a social justice project with the children, and it was all about homelessness. And it started off by reading a book about this dog that was homeless, and then it moved on to actual homeless people. Then it was how could we help the homeless people, and instantly they were like, we could give them money. And I was like, yeah, money's great, but what if they are homeless, how are they going to get to the shops? Do you think they know how to use the money? Like, maybe they don't know how to use the money to buy things that they need. Maybe they don't know what they need. I was like, so while money is good, we don't have money to give. Because I asked them, I was like, do you have money? And they're like, oh, no. And I was like, so, what's something that you can do to help? And then they were like, oh, we could give them food. And I was like, yeah, great, give them food. I was like, what type of food? And they were like, seriously? They kind of gave me that blank look like, really? Really, you're going to figure that too? And I was like, no, think about it. I was like, what type of food could you give them? And they're like, oh, we could give them pasta. That was literally the first response I got. Okay. I was like, yeah, I suppose pasta is really good to eat, but does anyone know how it's cooked? And it really got them to critically reflect about what they could actually give to help. And then, after we figured out the food, my grandparents run a food bank in Gelliston Heights, a community centre up there. And so a leftover tray, I asked them to bring back, and then I got 2 buckets and I got the kids to kind of sort it out. And the whole point was them to see what they could give and what they couldn't give food-wise. From there, the children went on and we started talking, we're like, how else could, what could we do now to get more food? And it ended up being we put this big bucket out in the front of the centre and we asked parents to donate food that the children would give to a homeless centre. But they wanted to do more. They're like, what could we do? And I was like, well, what could we do? I was like, this is going to go to a homeless shelter for Christmas, so what could we do to make their Christmas more special? And the kids were like, they started to think, and then one of the kids popped up, he's like, we could make them decorations. Because it wasn't a present, but it was something that they could give to them, that they had the resources to do. And I was like, great. For the next 2 weeks, they had a table and they sat there making decorations. Elves, reindeers, and they were really amazing. It was really cool. And I think it's all about that, especially in education-wise. People think, oh, how can education benefit the economy or the world? And that's how you can do it, is teaching them to be kind and teaching them how to help people in a way that's actually sustainable to them.
And just in case people didn't see our last interview or don't know much about you, so you're working with children because you're in early childhood.
Yeah, just graduated. Ooh.
Just graduated?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thanve you. Finished my degree forever.
Until you go back and do further study.
Yeah, I know. Everyone's like, what are you going to do next? I'm like, oh, maybe my master's. I don't know.
Maybe live a little, see the world, take it easy, if that's at all possible.
People have also suggested that, and I'm like, what's that? No, I probably will take a break. I've been studying for 6 years in the same area, so it would be nice to have a bit of a break.
Yeah. How did you get into it in the first place, or what inspired you to get into early childhood? Because it's not everyone's pot of tea, because it does take a lot of work. It can be really, really stressful. So why did you go into it?
I think when I was little, I always used to feel really terrible about myself because people used to always make me feel terrible about myself. And when I was growing up, I used to see other people getting like bullied, and I thought like, you know, who gives them the right to make other people feel that way? And I just kind of knew that I wanted to grow up making sure that other children didn't feel that way about themselves. And then from there, I kind of just always gravitated towards children. Like my parents used to always joke, even when I was a little kid, that I'd be a like preschool teacher or a kindergarten teacher, and it's never changed. It's always been the same. And then when I was 13, my parents became foster parents, and we got like 4 beautiful little boys. Well, 3 at the first, and then we've gotten more since then. And they were really little, and I got to be that bigger, and I got to like help,
big
you know,
sister.
Yeah, big sister, and help bring them up. And I just kind of knew that that's what I wanted to do. Like I had so much fun with them, and felt really good about myself, just helping them, and it was cool. And yeah, it just went from there, I suppose.
And if someone is being bullied, because unfortunately it's still a huge problem in this country, it probably will be for a while yet, what advice would you give to someone who is being bullied?
It's hard because when you're getting bullied, like no matter what people say, you know, it doesn't really change how you're feeling.
Yeah.
But, you know, it does get better. And I know it sounds really terrible and cliche at the moment, but, you know, growing up, like I'm such a better person for it. Like I'm so much more empathetic. And, you know, sometimes bullying is like just a drive. Like use it as something to motivate you, not something to tear you down. Like be like, go out to prove that people wrong. And I know everyone thinks that's not a way to think, but it is. Like if, you know, if that's all you're getting told and that's what you're starting to believe, prove to other people that you're not that. Prove to yourself that you're not that. You know, if someone says that you can't be a gymnast, like they did to me at 17, I became a competitive gymnast just to prove them wrong. Yeah.
I had no idea.
I always wanted to be a gymnast, but my parents could never afford it. And then one year when I started working, I was working as a gymnastics coach at the time, so it wasn't a far-fetched thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, I had a boyfriend at the time, and I was like, you know, I'm going to do that. And I was looking at the Olympics, and I'm like, I'm going to be a competitive gymnast one day. And he's like, you're too old, you won't be able to do that. And I'm like, challenge accepted. And yeah, you know, made it to level 5. Didn't compete in level 5, but made it to like level 5, and I was pretty happy with that. Obviously, I bowed out last year because I am a bit old now. It's a bit weird when you're... No.
I get it in the gymnastics world.
In the gymnastics world, I'm competing against like 6 years old in the same level, and that's just awkward. You know, if you win in a comp, you're just like, is it really a fair match?
So like if you win and you've beaten someone who's 6 years old.
Oh yeah, it used to be that like when they have like different categories, so maybe like not 6, but I mean over 10, it's like you're a senior. So it's still like, you know, a bit awkward.
It's a cruel world. So what are your plans? Obviously, you've got Miss Planet coming up. That's in February next year in Cambodia. And then what about next year in terms of other things that you have planned? Coming up to the new year, have you thought about what you want to achieve next year, or you've just been sort of decompressing from this year?
Yeah, this year's been pretty crazy, like a bit of a whirlwind. Yeah, I'm always thinking about what I'm going to do next, but I'm kind of just like whatever happens, it's going to happen. Like I'm not really a pre-planner. A lot of things in the modelling world doesn't come up like with a lot of notice, so it's kind of just like just seizing the moment. I have a photo shoot in January, which will be really cool. And it's a nice photo shoot, and then, you know, just whatever comes up. Obviously, Miss Planet is in February, the 18th, and then I'll come back on the 3rd of March. Yeah. So that will be a bit of time, but I'm also, just kind of taking it as it is.
And what are you going to do sort of preparation-wise for Miss Planner? I mean, you've been in pageants before.
Yeah.
This one's probably on a different scale. It's international.
Ooh,
and it's, 2 weeks. So how do you prepare for something like that?
Just am I getting a lot of like clothes? Pageant? No, you laugh, but pageants are the kind of place where you can't really be seen wearing the same costume.
No. So how many outfits are you taking? Because I spoke to Kim Kundani, Miss Grand Australia. She took like 20 or 30 outfits, and they were only allowed 1 suitcase. Yeah. So how many outfits are you going to be taking over?
Definitely probably around the same level. You don't really know what you want to wear and what situation's going to call for what, and you know, they give you a list of the stuff that you will need, but there's a whole lot of other stuff. But we are going to the temples where the Tomb Raider was filmed. And so for me, I'm definitely bringing a Tomb Raider outfit because I have to seize that moment. There is no way I can miss that opportunity. Not just selfie, I'm like full photo shoot. My mum's got the camera, she's going to bring it on, we're doing that scene. I don't care if I have to climb up a wall, if that's allowed. I don't know if it is, but if it is, I'm definitely climbing up it.
Somehow I get the feeling that you do it even if it's not allowed.
Oh, I probably won't because, you know, it's in a pageant and people watching. And I wouldn't. If I'm not allowed, won't do it.
Okay. Fair enough. Do you have any goals results-wise with the pageant? I mean, this is a new pageant, the first time internationally, so do you just go into it and aim to have fun, or do you...
Yeah. That's always my motto. Like, winning is going to be an amazing bonus, but I'm always going in it just to have fun, do the best that I can, meet some people, just have an experience. Like, I think if you go in it with the mindset of winning, you know, you're going to miss out on so much. Like, you won't stop to have fun. And I see that a lot with some girls, like, that I've only done, like, 2 pageants, and I already see that, like, so much. And, you know, I just think, for me, that wouldn't be a way to go, because I just wouldn't have fun, and I'd be stressing, and I would just hate it and probably end up crying on the floor in a puddle. That'd probably be where I ended if I had that mind frame, like, if I didn't win. But to me, like, it's always been about fun.
And do you have any appearances or anything else lined up in the lead up to the pageant?
No, not necessarily, but I probably will get a few. I've been working along with the town mayor, so I will probably contact her, because coming into January, you know, you've got New Year's and you've got all these other events, which I'm sure I can pop in and make an appearance there. So I'll probably try to get a few. But, you know, people kind of seem to know who I am at the moment, which is a bit weird.
People locally, people on the internet, or you're becoming a celebrity?
Like a bit of both. No. No, but like, I mean, I always get people messaging me saying that they've seen your interview or they heard about me, and I'm like, where'd you hear about me? Like, who's talking about me? Good, bad, you know? Because you don't really think about it, but obviously I have been in a few like high profile things like Rocky Gather Cole and the International and the Pageant, so you know, it's not really surprising, but it is just surprising to me when people are like, oh no, yeah. So it's pretty cool. I feel like I'm getting out there as well, doing these other things.
And do you think, win or otherwise, the pageant, like, and modelling, do you have any goals as to how far you want to take it?
Be totally cool if I could be in a magazine, like front cover. That's probably my goals. That'd be pretty cool. And I wouldn't mind going into like kind of commercials. Yeah. And maybe like ads on
TV commercials.
Yeah, TV commercials. Acting.
Well, you've done that. You've been a zombie.
Yeah.
Sorry, not zombie. Walking Dead.
Yeah, which was super exciting. But you know, I'm looking for a bit more of a bit of a step up, like at least a talking zombie.
You want to expand your skill set, so not just zombie.
talking role.
A talking role.
Yeah, I don't care if it's like 2 minutes. Just want to speak.
Fair enough.
Yeah, no, that'd be cool. I got to go to the AACTA Awards this year with Royal Modelling, and it was really cool because we were just seat fillers, so anytime like someone got up from the front audience, we had to fill the seat so that when the cameras filmed, it didn't look empty. So
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, so if a celebrity got up to like, go get their award, we would sit in their seat till they got back.
Did you sit in anyone famous?
I sure did.
Whose seat did you sit in?
Her name is blanking me at the moment. She is one of the main characters of Sapphires. She's in quite a few movies now. Anyway, she won, I think, was best lead support actress for a movie, and she got up to go get her award, and I didn't know it was her seat, but I got sat 2 rows from the front, and right in the middle, Nicole Kidman right there, Brian Brown right here, me like trying to keep it cool because they tell you to keep a cool level. And
I kind of was that your keeping it cool face?
I'll show you. Well, I will show you I'll tell you about the next 3 and then I'll show you how my face went. So I'm sitting down and I'm pretty happy about myself because I know whose seat I'm sitting back and I'm going to meet my idol, like, because I absolutely love her in the movies. So she goes to get an award, but she never came back. Yeah, it was a bit sad. So I just sat there for the rest of the show. There was like 5 other awards, and Vance's Joy played live like 2 rows away from me, and she missed it all, and I'm like, the camera's on me. I'm like, this is so amazing. So I'm sitting down, and this short for Sapphires, the movie, came on. Now I love that movie. It's one of my favourite all-time movies. Just so emotional, really grips you. And I'm sitting there, you know, like the guy next to me, he sits down, he's like, oh, how's your day going? And I was like, yeah, good. I was like, what about you? And he's like, yeah, pretty good. I just won this. And he pulls like an Emmy. He's won Best Support Actor for a movie he was in. And I was like, yeah, this is cool. And then, you know, the movie's playing, and I'm like, you know what, I absolutely love this movie. I hope this movie wins an award because it's like, honestly, my all-time favourite. And the guy, which is a younger guy next to me, he just starts laughing. And then he starts laughing. And I'm like, have I missed something? Do I have something on my face? Have I like spat when I talked or something? Maybe I blurred myself. And then the guy next to me, he's like, that's the director. And I was like,
Oh, the one next to you on the other side.
He's the director of the Sapphire movie, and I'm sitting with all the cast.
I was going to say, because you did get up to take her seat, so she probably would have been sitting with her.
She wasn't there for that movie. Like, she was there for a different movie. So I was like, I didn't know. And then, you know, so then I'm like...
So you were sat down with, like, the cast and crew of your favourite all-time
Yeah,
movie.
and I didn't even realise until he pointed it out. And then like, no freaking way. And he's like, yeah, hi, nice to meet you, I'm blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I'm Krysta. So this is so awesome. And then I just had to sit there and like keep it cool because, you know, the guys in front of me had all been winning awards and they were up for more nominees. And so I'm sitting there.
That's a creepy face. That's not keeping a cool face. That's
I'm
like
trying
stalker
to keep
face.
it really cool, and it's like still like the smile is just so big, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm so happy right now. And then one of my other friends for the Royal Modelling guys, like Andrew, he goes and sits down in Nicole Kidman thing anyway. So I'm just so happy right now. Nicole Kidman comes back from winning her award, and you know he touches her and he's like, oh my goodness, thank you so much for holding my seat. And he's like. No worries. He gets all like, you know, like shy and just kind of fades away into the darkness, and I'm like, way to keep it cool. And I'm just sitting there like.
So how do you introduce yourself in a situation? Because obviously, so he could introduce himself as director.
Oh.
So what do they ask you what you do and what do you say?
Yeah.
So what did you say?
Krysta Heath, seat filler. No, I was just like, oh, I'm here as a seat filler, but I'm with a modelling company. Right. And they're like, oh, okay, like you come into the after party. I'm like, oh, I hope, you know. So then the show ends, then it just dramatically ends. Like they cut it and then the lights come on and they're like, okay, now you can leave. And so all the celebrities are kind of just all standing there, like not really knowing what to do. And I'm standing here, Brian Brown is right there. And, you know, we're just eye contact. Mm-hmm. And then I'm like, hey. And he's like, hey. And then we look away, but then like nothing else really happens in that second. So we're kind of still just staring at each other. I'm like, I feel like I need to go say something. So I'm like, I'm going to do it. So like walk around and, hi, I'm Krysta Heath. I'm so excited to meet you. I'm a big fan, massive fan. Congratulations on all these awards. Bit of life at the party, you know. He's just like, oh yeah, it's so nice to meet you, blah, blah, blah. And then I was like, you know, my dad would be so jealous right now because obviously he's a film director. My dad showed me lots of movies that he's been in. I was like, if he knew I was talking to you, whoop, he'd be crying. And then he's just laughing. He's like, oh yeah, who's your dad? And I said his name was Stephen, and then he just directed a movie and I told him what it had won. And he was like, holy dooly. Like he was pretty damn impressed. He was like, that's a good job. Tell your dad to keep it up and tell him I say hi. So I go home and like, Brian Brown says hi. And he's like, huh? What?
You didn't get a photo?
We weren't allowed. It was part of the conditions.
Oh, fair. Yeah, I guess if you're a seat filler.
Yeah, which was really sad because I was like, at the end, I was like, can we take a photo now? Can we take a photo now? They're like, no. I'm like, so I didn't, but I got to shake hands and meet him, and that's a memory I'll share forever.
Well, if you've sort of hung out with that crowd, then it shouldn't be too long before you're in a movie.
We see, yeah, I know, right? I mean, see, I can, and people are going to be like, oh, she's probably lying, but my dad filmed it, and because I was in the front 2 rows, the cameras kept coming across, and the people that want, so they can tell I'm sitting right there because I'm in the camera like a couple of times for the shots.
So you've been on TV?
Yeah, but like people are going to know that I was actually there, and that potentially meeting them was not a far-fetched thing because you know, the camera was right there.
That's where the magic all began when you become a famous actress.
Yeah, I was at the AACTA Awards in 2018 as a seat filler. Yeah.
Okay. So,
shining moment.
That's amazing. If people want to follow your journey on social, whether for the pageant or for seat filling or for modelling or for acting,
seat filling's a good one.
What are the best platforms and the details to get you on?
Alright, so you can go on Facebook. Like I say, my private one I probably won't add you because I don't know you, but you can follow my public page, which is just Krysta Heath, nice and easy. And then my Instagram is probably the best one that seems to get the most interactive posts, and everyone seems to put a lot of stuff out there. So if you want to follow that one, it's Krysta_Heath. Again, pretty simple.
Too easy.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we always finish with the same 10 questions.
Yes.
Do you remember your answers from last time?
Sort of.
You do?
Yeah, I kind of watched it a few times, so.
I actually don't, which is really weird. I don't remember your answers. Maybe it'll come back to me. You can give the same ones if you want.
Okay.
If you feel the need to exercise your acting range, then force yourself to come up with a different answer.
Okay, yes. I'll be really dramatic with them.
All right, so number 1, what is your favourite word?
I always say, oh my gosh, because that's just something I always say, and I think, like, it's pretty funny.
Was that what you said last time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, but that is...
Let's get you to... go to pick something else.
Oh, okay.
Let's have fun with this. You can't use the answers from last time.
I love the word snobby. I try and use that word as much as I can in this like situation. Whenever we're reading books and stuff, I'm like, oh, he's being a bit snobby, isn't he? And the kids are like, snobby.
Better than snotty. Okay.
Yeah.
What is your least favourite word?
Oh, no, I don't want to say that one.
That's curious.
It's not a swear word, but
Okay.
I feel like it's just still gross to say.
Okay. Give us another one.
Recently, a lot of kids have been calling me poopy head, so I'm not a big fan of that one. At work, I don't know why. It's just a thing.
Did something happen to inspire?
No.
Kids can be cruel.
They are so cruel. It's just like the toilet talk stage, so they just think it's hilarious. You're a poopy head. Damn, kid. Cut me to the core.
Question the third. What turns you on?
Actually, to believe it or not, like last time I said like, you know, skydiving and stuff, but being in like the spotlight is pretty fun. Like that is pretty exhilarating, like being in a fashion show and kind of having eyes on you. That's pretty cool. I do like that feeling.
Yeah. I guess especially when you've come from a hard background and having everyone sort of
Yeah,
looking at you
dote over you is pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's like, Krysta, I'm going to photo. Well, okay.
If you insist.
Yeah.
Okay, what turns you off?
When people think that they're better than you, like, especially when you see it in guys and they kind of talk themselves up heaps, particularly like, you know, if they say, oh, you know, lots of girls like me, as a pull to be like, oh, I'm desirable, but for me, I'm like, go away.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it happens a lot.
Really?
Yeah, so much. I don't know why they think it's like a cool plea to make you like them. That just makes me think that they play around a lot, like they're a bit of a player, not necessarily like, oh, desirable. That's what they want. I don't know. It's just not for me.
What about what sound or noise do you love?
I think before I said like camping when you hear the rain on the tent and the birds.
So
I would probably still have to agree though, because we've moved out to the country and I wake up to like birds chirping.
Come up with a second answer.
Fine.
Come on.
I like listening to instrumental music, like covers, like especially like acoustic ones.
Yep.
I always find that they put me to sleep. I really like those.
You like the music so much it puts you to sleep?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's an odd answer.
Oh, actually, no, I thought of one. I've been making all the kids at work listen to Celtic women, but I think they're pretty amazing. Their vocal range is like beyond ridiculous.
Well, that's Celtic music's very soothing as well.
Yeah.
So it's probably good for the kids.
Puts them to sleep, yeah.
Yeah.
Like straight away.
What sound or noise do you hate?
Probably like a high-pitched squeal. All the kids at work do it just for fun. They think it's hilarious and they sit there like, it's like so loud. Hate it.
Okay. If you could have any one superpower, what would you pick? And
Okay,
why?
yes, I would
What
do
did
it.
you say last time?
I said it'd be like Violet off The Incredibles, like invisible with force fields.
Okay, yeah.
But this time,
Don't pick another Incredible.
no, I'm kind of like obsessed with Wonder Woman at the moment, so I'd go with her. She's like ridiculously strong and fast and just awesome.
Yeah. Okay.
So go with that one.
All right. What job or occupation other than your own would you most like to attempt?
Yeah, acting.
Acting.
Yeah.
That's not a hard one to see. What job or occupation other than your own would you definitely not like to attempt?
I feel like it's still the same answer, but I will try and come up with a different one.
Why can't I remember? What was the answer last time?
It was a mortuary.
Oh, yeah. And then everyone was asking, like, have you had an experience with bodies? And you're like, no. That was a really weird answer.
Okay, because I watched...
No one wants to work with dead bodies. Well, maybe some people
I
do.
watch like a lot of sci-fi movies and like murder investigations, and it's always got the and they always dig in it, and they think it's so cool, and I'm like no job I would want.
It's acting, Krysta.
Yeah, I know it's acting, but still.
Okay, so what job would you not like to attempt and not dealing something other than dead bodies?
I'm not good with maths, and I'm not a big fan of it, so anything to do with maths, like a mathematician or something, like someone that writes mathematic codes or something, that would just be terrible.
Okay, I think that would sound terrible to most people.
Yeah, not fun.
Okay, final question. If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Same thing, I would obviously like him to say that I'd done a good job. It's always a good thing. And that, you know, that it actually helped make a difference. Like, you know, you do stuff and you don't always know if it helps the person or not. So it'd just be nice to know, like, when you get out there that, like, yeah, that changed that person's life or that got them out of a tough spot. That'd be cool to know.
That makes sense, because you do a lot of good for people, and as you said, you don't really like publicising it.
Yeah.
So it'd be nice to know that it did actually have an impact on someone.
you know, our family got the rough end of it when we were a bit younger, so we kind of know what it is like to have people help support you from like the community and stuff. So, you know, I know what it felt like for us, and you know, it made all the difference in the world. So I'd hope it'd do the same for them.
Okay, that sounds lovely. Well, best of luck.
Thank you.
With the international competition. It's now the end of December, so you've got like 5 weeks, 6 weeks.
Yeah, 6 weeks I think. Yeah.
And how are you feeling about it? Excited? Nervous?
Yeah, I'm super excited. I'm just really excited to go over there and just have fun and see like Cambodia. Like it's always been on my bucket list to go, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Always wanted to do a volunteer trip over in Cambodia, but this is just as good.
Perfect.
You know, we still get to volunteer. I get to go to like children's hospitals and stuff like that. So that'll be a lot of fun. You know, well, obviously not like super fun because it's a bit sad, but
fulfilling for you.
But yeah, and just you know, I like going there and making them laugh. If I get one smile, that'd be enough for me.
That's so you. Well, best of luck.
Thank you.
And thank you for round 2.
Yeah, no worries.
We'll see what happens. Thanks everyone for watching, and we'll speak to you again soon. Hey, it's Adrian. Thanks so much for listening to our podcast. Make sure to subscribe to get details of our new episodes as they drop, and connect with us on social at The Pageant Project. Speak to you next.